Have a seat and hold on tight. Because the ultra-high performance tire that first raised the bar just crushed it again. With better traction, more stability, improved wet braking. For the modern muscle car, it's the next level of performance. Step up to the all-new Nitto 555 G2. Check it out at nittotire.com. It's what's next.
Blog Talk Radio.
Live from Fort Bragg's backyard, this is the show that put the 110 Nation on the map. There is only one nation, the 110 Nation, and you're listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show, covering each and every sport across the board. There is no sport too large or too little. It's time to talk the talk. Here we go. Here's the man, the founder, and your host, Mr. CJ Sports.
Welcome, everybody, to the 110 Nation Sports Show. I am your host, Mr. CJ Sports. You can follow me at CJ Sports 1. You can follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Here it is, Tuesday night, number one night on the Sports 110 Nation Sports Radio Network. Glad to be here. Glad to have the opportunity to sit with you guys tonight. Make sure you guys follow me at CJ Sports 1. Follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Check us out on Facebook. You can check out my fan page, Mr. CJ Sports. You can check out the 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Also, check out our site, www.the110nation.com. Check out our blog site, www.110nationsports.com, for all the latest going on here at the 110 Nation. We had a really good article about the Cleveland Browns come out earlier this afternoon, morning-ish time, noonish time anyway. So make sure you guys get over there and check that out. It was a really interesting, nice, good article by one of our writers. So, guys, make sure you check that out. We got Izzo joining us tonight at 10:30 to talk NHL, of course. We got him joining at 10:30. Just like I said, to talk some NHL. He's got a handful of topics that he wants to jump into. Tomorrow night, we got a really special guest joining us on the show. He contacted me this morning, and we're going to make it possible. We're going to have Rashad Mitchell join us. He is a self-published author of 28 books, including his new book, The Top 50 Underrated Running Backs in the NFL history. So looking forward to having him on the show tomorrow night and get to know so we're going to have him at 9:30. Looking forward to getting to know more about him and his books, and more specifically, his top 50 underrated NFL running backs. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation, so looking forward to that. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. Don't forget, we are on Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here at the 110 Nation Sports Show. We got the 110 Nation Morning Show. Kicks off at 9 o'clock every Monday through Friday as well. Thursdays, beginning next Thursday, we got the Racing with Big Sweat coming back, coming off his vacation, and then unfortunately he was in the hospital for a little bit, just getting back out, so he needed a little bit of time to recover. So we got him coming back next Thursday night, January 14th. And then we got the Midwest Horsepower Hour Sunday nights at 9 p.m. So make sure you guys check out all those great shows that we have going on over there, or here at this 110 Nation Sports Radio Network. Don't forget, you can catch us on Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, the I-95 Sports Network, making it many ways for you guys to to check us out and be able to catch the show. Also, if you're interested in coming on the show, just like Rashad hit me up, all you got to do is contact me, MrCJSports@gmail.com. If you're interested, well, actually, let me backtrack a second. If you're interested in coming on the show, if you're an athlete, part of some kind of athletic organization, some kind of team, maybe you got a show or site you want to talk about it, or even a book, I never threw that out there. And we've had a couple authors on before. I just never really, never really think about it when I'm going through this. Also, if you're got some kind of charity or foundation you want to come on and promote, talk about, hit on this lead. That's LEE_110nation@yahoo.com. Also, if you're interested in joining the 110 Nation, maybe you want to co-host with me, or maybe you're an expert in a certain field, we would love to have the opportunity to maybe come on 15, 30 minutes out of the week, and we sit down and discuss your field of expertise. Maybe you want to host your own show. Right now we got 17 hours a week of show time. We're allowed it up to 35 as of right now, and by July that's where we'd like to be. And so we would love to fill some of the airtime that we have. Or maybe you got a show that you would like to have syndicated or rebroadcast on our network. Or maybe you're a writer and you would like to write for our site. Hit me up, MrCJSports@gmail.com. I'd love to have the opportunity to talk to you and look at getting you on our team and as we continue to grow. Say what? They're expecting a cold one come this weekend in Seattle. As well, let me backtrack a second. In Minnesota, as they're calling possibly for it to be one of the coldest games in NFL history. Definitely a cold one, and I don't know how prepared the Seattle Seahawks are for this. I know that they get their fair share of cold weather, but more specifically, we know that Minnesotans are definitely going to be prepared for it. Remember how it was supposed to be really cold when the Seattle Seahawks played the Minnesota Vikings next Sunday? Like 12 degrees Fahrenheit? That's nothing compared to the latest forecast. 5-day forecast released this morning. The forecast released this morning are predicting the high temperature ranging from 1 to -1 degrees Fahrenheit, and they are calling for lows in the neighborhood of a -14. It all depends on which forecast you believe, but if the game does hit that -14, it would fall just short of being the coldest game ever played, not accounting for wind chill. The coldest game that is on record is the 1967 NFL championship game, better known as the Ice Bowl between the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers. It was considered by many as one of the greatest NFL games ever played. The Packers won 21-17 as the game time temperature tipped to -15 degrees. It's not likely the thermometer will drop quite that low. Other forecasts call for lows of only -7 degrees, but it's unlikely day low will come during the game, which kicks off at 12:05 Central Time. But if the forecast keeps getting worse, we're going to find out. I couldn't imagine being out there. I grew up in the great state of Ohio, and quite honest, and I would say less than a handful of years, we'll find ourselves living back in the great state of Ohio. It is one of those things that is inevitable that one day I will live back in the great state of Ohio and be reunited. It's one of those things that I always told myself when my mother gets to be about that certain age, that I will be back up there and I will do the sonly duties of helping take care of my mother and everything else. And I'd like to get up there before it gets to that point. So it's a handful of years or so. Yeah, kind of at this point, we got Shorty and her. She got some of her family moving into this state, so we got to hang around a little bit. And also, I have my son that once I move, I'm going to see him in the summertime. So I want to wait till he gets to be an older age where it's not such a bad transition because at 9 years old, you know, he still wants his daddy time. And we all know once they get to be teenagers and around that 15, 16-year-old range, then, you know, your parents' kind of thing is not the popular thing to have. I know what it was like when I was around that age. So, you know, I at least want to hang around and be in my son's life as much as I can now, knowing that in a handful of years I will be making a transition, and we'll be moving up north and just getting him for the holidays and the complete summer. I mean, about the same amount of time, it just all lumps them together versus, you know, what I get him now. But, you know, I've experienced very cold winters. I remember the town was shut down for a week because we had an ice storm, and it was so cold that everything was covered in like 6 inches of ice. And you couldn't do nothing. You couldn't go nowhere. You couldn't drive nowhere. It was horrible. We were buried in ice. And you know, I played football. I was out there in the snow. I know what it was like without it being the temperatures that they're talking about in Minnesota coming up this weekend for the football game. As a matter of fact, we were talking about it a little bit earlier tonight. I can remember being at basic training, and I went to basic training, and I headed off Halloween of '96, and it was cold. Fort Knox, Kentucky. And if you've ever been there, you'll know about agony and misery. You know, when we do these ruck marches, I mean, literally, you walked up the side of a mountain that it was so steep, like the road was like 12, 18 inches away from your face. It was so steep up the hill. But we had the 3-day field project that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be able to take your poncho with your battle buddy's poncho and turn it into a nice little tent so that, you know, basically survival skills and everything else. Well, we was out there, and we were supposed to go out there, but it was so cold, it was like a negative 10 degrees without the wind chill factor. And obviously we didn't have to do that field project. I mean, you figure you got a bunch of basically kids out of high school joining the military, really are not prepared for this. You know, you're just now in basic training. You've not had the AIT training. You've not had, you know, all this other training that we got once we got stationed where we were stationed. Let alone you weren't really, you know, climatized and trained for the cold weather. You know, that was one of the things that once you got where you were stationed and if you got deployed or whatever, like when I got deployed to Bosnia, you know, they trained us for the different climate and trained us for the different situations. You know, here we are. I'm 18 years old. And, you know, hey, as much as I lived in Ohio, you know, I'm not trained to go live underneath basically a poncho for 3 days and it being negative 10 degrees and you got a sleeping, basically equivalent to a sleeping bag and basically long johns. You know, no, it ain't happening. I would just snap back on that at work. So, you know, I've had my fair share of cold weather. And don't get me wrong, just because we didn't do the field project, all it meant is we didn't sleep outside. All the rest of the stuff, we still had to go outside. When we had to go to the shooting range, it was snow everywhere. We were hovering around barrels of little fire barrels and everything else trying to stay warm. It was ridiculously cold. Then I went from there until I went to Aberdeen, Maryland for my AIT training. And, of course, at that point in time, now it's January, February, so there's snow and everything else. And we're out there doing PT and sweatpants and, you know, almost knee-deep snow and everything else. And it just, you know, it's ridiculous there. So don't get me wrong. I'm a man from the up north. My saying is I can always put enough on. You can never take enough off. In other words, up north, I can always find enough clothes. I can find I can put enough layers on to include the jackets. I mean, I got a winter coat now that I've never been cold in. Like, it was, I got it from a place called Dunham Sports here in Stanford, North Carolina. I think they got a few of them. It was actually okay. It was a really good price. I think I might have paid $30 for this coat. And as a matter of fact, I've probably sweated in it more times than I have ever got cold in it. It does its job. It is an extremely warm coat. And I know that without a shadow of a doubt, I can put enough clothes on in order for me to stay warm. But here in this North Carolina weather, with the humidity and it being 100 degrees without the humidity, you can't take enough off. You could be butt naked and be miserable here in North Carolina. And you know, that's why I can live up north. That's why I've always imagined myself living in Alaska. Now, granted, I'm not financially in a position that I can live up there, because I know that the cost of living is much higher up there. But just the land, the mountains, the trees, that's the type of person I am. And knowing that the cold weather wouldn't bother me none, I most definitely could find myself living in the great state of Alaska as well. You know, it was one of those things that I did a report back in 5th grade, and that's the state I picked. And I would love the opportunity to live in Alaska. I don't know why, I just do. I have always visualized at least visiting that state. But, you know, I can imagine myself living back in a cold state. That is not a problem for mine. But I couldn't imagine being out there, being out there and playing. And this is where things get kind of touch and go. And I've been on the field, and I know that, you know, when you're on the field, you don't think about it, and you stay warm, so you're constantly running. And unfortunately, when I was in younger age, I played both sides of the ball. I was one of the, and not to pump myself up, but I was one of the better players on the team. I was the running back 2 out of the 3 years when I switched to the actual good league instead of the distorted league that I originally started on. I was selected to basically the Pro Bowl team both years. I played running back, offensively, defensively. I played linebacker, cornerback, safety. I kind of rotated around those 3 positions. I think I might even played a little bit of defense at then, but I wasn't quite big enough. As a kid back then, I was more of the cornerback, linebacker, more of the cornerback safety person, really, and then the running back. So I had the opportunity to be on both sides of the ball. So I didn't have to worry about getting cold, or more specifically, you know, you're out there in defense, you get all warmed up, you get sweating, then you go stand on the sideline, and depending on how long, you know, we got some teams that hold the ball for 8, 10 minutes of the play clock, depending on the drive and the penalties and everything else that goes into factor. I mean, I know it's not, you know, a common thing, but yes, we've seen teams have a 8-minute drive or 7-minute drive, and that's equivalent to real time. You're looking at about 30 minutes sometimes, or, you know, 15, 30 minutes, whatever the case may be. Can you imagine, you know, working up a big sweat out there, especially if you're a running back, receiver, where you're constantly running? Not that any of the positions are not going to be sweat, but you know what I'm saying. And then you go stand on the sideline for 15, 20 minutes in the cold, negative degree. And, you know, I'm sorry, no matter what jacket you put on, it is not probably going to do you justice with the thin pants you're going to have on and the jersey that really has no protection against the wind. And you may or may not have something underneath depending on if you're a player that, you know, feels comfortable with, you know, stuff underneath their jersey. There's a lot of things that factor in. With then you throw in the wind. I mean, I just, you got to sympathize sometimes. I mean, I know that they make millions of dollars, and I'm not going to say sympathize. I just couldn't imagine doing it. You know, as much as I enjoy the cold weather, and as much as, you know, if I would get paid, I'd be out there doing it. At the same time, when you start talking about negative 7, 15 degrees, not counting the windshield, that's some serious coldness, and I would love to know what it's going to be counting the windshield. And so, yeah, I can only imagine. But definitely a cold one. Luckily, it's not Lambeau Field. We know if it's Lambeau Field, we would we would see some females out there in bikinis. I remember, was that about 3 years ago, when it was Little Freedom. I want to say it was around the teens or something. And I know they got big publicity for it, but you had those 3 females that were at the stadium with bikini tops out there, and caught a lot of attention. As a matter of fact, I think either we reposted it or we had some kind of article on our site back when we had the other blog site. I don't know if there's any loyal Minnesota fans out there that will do that. And I guess when you're really not even giving a thought of having a chance to win the game, I don't know how much the fans are willing to go out of their way and show their supports and do stuff like that. At least the Lambeau Field and the Green Bay Packers, you knew that there was a good chance you were going to win. But I don't know if anybody's even given a thought at this point for the Minnesota Vikings to actually win. I know I'm not even batting an eye on this one. I honestly, I would be shocked if the game is close. Not if Minnesota wins. I would be shocked if the game is even close at all. So, yeah. A lot of questions surrounding the Cleveland Browns' newest front office man, Paul DePodesta, I guess is how you pronounce his name. Dave here, or Paul here, is a baseball guy. I think that's what was the most interesting thing about this whole move is the fact that they hired a baseball guy, a guy that was that has spent his learning with the New York Mets. Not the New York Jets, not the New York Giants, but the New York Mets. And I thought it was different. Cleveland and football have always been a special place in my heart, according to Paul. And it was 20 years ago this month after pushing my first love of football or pursuing my first love of football and looking at every possible job in the NFL that I got the biggest break I could imagine, a job offer from the American League champion Cleveland Indians. As excited as I was then, I'm even more excited now to return to Cleveland and try to help the Browns. He will report directly to the Browns ownership. He will have a role in player development, analytics, player personnel decisions, and picking the new head coach. And this is where you, especially if you are a Browns fan, think, oh, well, why not? The Cleveland Plain Dealer captured the news for its readers with the following headline. Remember Jonah Hill's character in the movie Moneyball? He's the Browns' new chief strategy officer. Except, of course, Paul was so uncomfortable with how he was depicted in the movie that he requested his name be removed from the character. Still funny headline. Interesting move. He's intelligent. He always thinks outside the box. He is one standing outside of it. Bracing against an icy wind, down a couple touchdowns to the Steelers out of the timeout. He laughed more than maybe you think he does. Job with San Diego Padres for the time bled into broader organizational matters. Beyond the playing field, that is, and I recall him gushing over a fresh challenge. Challenges do not get any fresher than the one just ahead of him. It's going to be interesting. This is an organization that I'm a diehard Cleveland Browns fan. Truly. There's not too many games. If I get an opportunity to catch it, especially here living in North Carolina, moving back to Ohio, that will definitely open up the opportunity for me to be able to catch them on a regular basis. But I catch as many games as I can. And so, and I think that's the main reason I watch the Red Zone like I do, not only to be able to keep up with everything going on in the NFL, but it gives me an opportunity to catch as much of the Cleveland Browns as I can. At this point, honestly, I would be happy just simply with a 500 record. I'm not asking for us to go to the playoffs at this point. I'm not asking for us to win a Super Bowl at this point. At this point, 500 would satisfy me. It has been way too long since we have accomplished even a season worth even be able to hold our heads up on. It should not have gone this long for the Cleveland Browns with the historic backing and what this team means to the state of Ohio. Regardless the fact that they have the Cincinnati Bengals, the love and the passion for the Cleveland Browns, the Cincinnati Bengals will never experience, ever. And a franchise that once was proud. I mean, in the first 3 seasons of the Cleveland Browns, you're looking at a 28-3 record, first undefeated season of pro football, 1948. I screwed that up. I know I said 1946 before. Winning multiple championships. Hell, you can throw the next season in there. You went from 28-3 to 37-4, or you can go 37-4, so 47-6, or 58-7. I mean, you know, the first 6 seasons, 58-7. Good God Almighty, you can't ask for much better than that. But you got to go all the way back, and then even make the playoffs. All the way back to 2007 when they went 10-6, since the last time they went at least 8-8. And then prior to that, 2002. So you've had 2 seasons in 13 years that you've at least managed to go 8-8. Let's even back up a little bit farther than that. You've got 3 seasons. Three seasons since 1990. So in 25 years, you have 3 seasons that you have managed to have a 500 or better record. That's why I, at this point, would be happy, would be ecstatic if we could even just finish 500. I'm not asking for a miracle. I'm not asking for an early Christmas present. I'm nothing like that. It's not like I'm asking you, hey, I want to go to the playoffs. As much as I would love to go to the playoffs, I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for an opportunity for us just to go 8-8. That's it. Can we hold on to a coach more than for a year? I mean, we've had 5 coaches since, 2008? So you're on average of 1.5, not even 1.5 years a coach? I don't think we've ever had the same quarterback start since we've come back in the league in 99, and we might have had one. I mean, the long list of NFL starting quarterbacks of the Cleveland Browns since 99 has been redonkulous. And every year you see the jersey, the infamous jersey of the quarterback list of the list of quarterbacks on the back of the jersey over the last almost 15 years or so. 16 years, 500. I mean, is that really too much to ask? Three times since 1990, have the Cleveland Browns gone 8-8 or better. In '94, they won 11-5. In 2002, they went 9-7, and in 2007, they went 10-6. I remember 2002. We lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers twice that year. I remember I was working at one of the Brooklyn Pizzeria locations on Raleigh Road in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I remember that I don't think I could watch the game, or maybe I had a little TV and it was in and out, but I know I listened to it. I know the Cleveland Browns went up like 2 or 3 touchdowns. And I honestly thought we were finally going to beat the Steelers this year. And the Steelers came back and beat the Cleveland Browns to beat them 3 times in the season to eliminate us out of the playoffs. I remember that. I don't know which was more heartbreaking, that or knowing that when we went into the 95 season, after coming off the 11-5 season, winning 1-1 in the playoffs, we were favored to win the Super Bowl in 95. Everybody had picked the Cleveland Browns. I mean, why not? We had Bill Belichick. We had Nick Saban. We had what ended up being like 6 or 7 future head coaches, general managers, and a couple of college coaches now. Like, we had the all-star Nick Mangini. I can't even begin to tell you that coaching staff. It was ridiculous how good that coaching staff was. That team, like I said, 11-5. They just come off going 1-1 in the playoffs. They were ready to go. Started off the season 3-1, and then that Art Modell. I try not to be disrespectful for a man that has done left this earth, but just like in any true Cleveland Browns fan's heart, there is still some bitterness there. Knowing not only did you take our team from us, and we had no team for 4 years, but you took what was going to be our Super Bowl year. There was no doubt in our minds that was finally our year. We was going to finally win the Super Bowl. Not just a championship, but a Super Bowl. And what happens? And the rug gets pulled from underneath our feet. And as much as a playoff opportunity would be great, I am happy with baby steps. I would be just as happy to see an 8-8 season. And it is sad. It is sad that I would be happy with just an 8-8 season. But, I mean, in 25 years, it's happened 3 times. I guess that's why I have no choice but to be happy if we can, and just hope for an 8-8 season. I don't even know if I would know how to act or contain myself or even help control myself if we made the playoffs. Playoffs? Are you what? Playoffs? I would probably be decked from head to toe with playoff paraphernalia. Who knows? God, remember the glory years. I mean, what happened to the Cleveland Browns? 12-2 in year 1, 12-1-1 in year 2, both championship years. 14-0 the next year, championship. 9-1-2 championship. 10-2 championship. Granted, the next 3 years, 11-1, 8-4, and 11-1, and they lost. But then you got the 9-3 and 9-2-1, 54 and 55, and they win other championships. Then after that, it starts the NBA a little bit of hit and miss until you hit the 63, 64, and 65 season with 10-4, 10-3-1, and 11-3 with one championship in there. Yeah. I'm not asking the Cleveland Browns to go back to the glory days. I'm not asking Cleveland to put a 1940-ish performance on. Just go 500. Just win as many times as you lose. That's all. Not asking too much. I wouldn't think. I didn't realize that, it was asking a bit much. I mean, we can go back to the mid to late 80s, with the fumble and the drives and all that, when they were winning the division and they were 12-4 and 10-5 and 10-6. I can even handle that at this point. But 3 seasons since 1990 that we've finished above 500. I would have to imagine that's got to be probably the worst run in the NFL right now. I can't imagine anybody else putting up worse numbers since 1990. Oh, should the Cowboys push for RG3 or Manziel to back up Tony Romo? Should they? Both of them have expressed their desire to go play in Big D. Both of them know that Jerry Jones and company are willing to put up with their shenanigans. I mean, you got Manziel, who goes to Las Vegas Saturday night, wears a wig and a fake mustache and goes by the name of Billy, and then tries to get fronted while he's out there because somebody forgot to bring cash and didn't want to leave a credit card trail back to the fact that he was in Vegas, which ended up backfiring because I don't know why you just going to say, hey, go to the ATM for me, somebody, and pay them or something. And instead, I mean, I'm not going to lie, Manziel, you could have called me up. You pay for my plane ticket or reimburse me for my plane ticket. I would have flown to Las Vegas. I would have took your ATM card, went to the bank, and pulled out what you needed for you. You take care of me later, and I wouldn't have said a word. That's how I do it. But you got RG3 Johnny Manziel, and the fact that he obviously has a serious party and drinking issue. That knowing that his NFL career could come to an end at any moment because there's not too many teams to be willing to put up with that, it is not bothering him none. Knowing that there is a very good possibility that if he keeps going down the path that he's going, that he may not have a job. That the lifestyle he has right now could possibly snap the fingers be gone. And yet that does not faze him any. Maybe he needs to learn a lesson from Ryan Leaf or Jamarcus Russell. It's not always going to be there. No matter how much teams, coaches, and owners believe you have some talent, you always run out of chances. Unless you're the Dallas Cowboys. You seem to just give everybody chances over and over, no matter what they do. I mean, that's Greg Hardy. Then you got what is probably the biggest diva. I mean, you got people coming to the Washington Redskins game with RG3 Dallas Cowboy jerseys on. You got your family putting everything out on social media. Dallas is probably the only team willing to take any of these two. Manziel, who ain't growing up, and RG3, who's about the biggest pretty princess diva there is in the NFL. RG3 just needs to get over the fact that Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback. I'm not saying Kirk Cousins is a great quarterback, I will say that he was top 5 in the league in the quarterback rating, so obviously there's something there too, regardless how many people want to put him down. RG3 has never once impressed me. I was glad that was one quarterback Cleveland did not waste draft picks moving up to get. I wish they had been wise and did the same thing and didn't go after Johnny Manziel, but I was beyond ecstatic when we did not waste anything to get RG3 or did not have the opportunity to draft RG3. I knew that was going to be a bust. I mean, when you played for Baylor, you really didn't have no competition. It was the same Baylor team this year. That, why is this team not in the top 4? I don't understand. Because I didn't play nobody. Then when y'all played somebody, y'all got your butts handed to you. There was a reason why TCU, Oklahoma State, there was one other team off the top of my head, that all that talk, this should be in consideration for the I'm not really calling it a playoff system, the AND2 game system. No, there's a reason. I put RG3 in the same category as Geno Smith. Quarterback that was on a team that had an easy schedule. We don't talk about Geno Smith, and you see exactly why. You see exactly why. Look at Geno Smith right now. Look at both those quarterbacks right now, as a matter of fact. You can blame the RG3 thing and the injury. Eventually, he would have been benched anyway. He was only getting worse and worse anyway. Yeah, he looked good when he first came out. Steve, this is weren't used to that yet. That whole read option garbage, that was something new to the guys that had been in the league for a while. This was a college thing. Once they learned to adjust to it, that was that. It was like Tim Tebow. I mean, once they learned to adjust to Tim Tebow, what he was doing, he wasn't as effective as he was that year that he took Denver to the playoffs and won a game. Geno Smith, I don't care he threw 40 touchdowns. I don't care that I think it was 30 or 40 touchdowns. I don't care that he threw for 4,000 yards. I don't care that he rushed for 1,000 yards or whatever it was when he played for West Virginia. Because he played in a conference that there was nobody. I don't think you can hardly name anybody in that conference. I don't know if anybody's ever been ranked in that conference. He gets butt hurt because he didn't get picked when he felt that he should have been picked. There's a reason why. There's a reason why you got picked for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Other than you got your jaw jacked up. When you got healthy, you sure to hell. And that's two things are sad. One, you got picked for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Two, the other sad thing is Ryan Fitzpatrick was actually an upgrade. I think if there's ever a team out there that would take one or both of them, I'm not sure there's going to be another team. I don't know about Johnny Manziel. I think a lot of people can overlook RG3 being a little pretty princess and his little tutu getting all wadded up and him crying in his little whatever. I would really be really upset if Cleveland ever with this whole Johnny Manziel thing. He's getting really close to burning his bridges as he has not showed us enough on the field to say, you know what, I understand he's got off the field issues, but he has a hell of an arm, or he has a hell of an IQ. I can understand if he had a Carson Palmer arm with a Peyton Manning IQ and in a Bill Belichick system. Yes, I could see you willing to deal with some of the off-the-field issues, just like the Cowboys like to do with a lot of the misfits they bring on that team. But none of that is what we're looking at for Johnny Manziel. There's a better chance that RG3, even though he's a diva, will find something. I bet that Johnny Manziel will find a backup role somewhere, but I think that his opportunities are going to be limited. In other words, unless he changes a lot of things, he might get one more opportunity somewhere as a backup, but that's going to be his last opportunity. And a lot of people are not going to deal with the partying and not being there at Sunday morning concussion protocol because you're in Vegas partying it up, or you go to rehab for your drinking problem, then you're seen at the clubs and having parties and drinking and everything else. I think the Cleveland Browns have been more than patient and more than have gone above and beyond trying to make sure that they've given him the opportunity, and they have given themselves, a chance to get something out of a first-round draft pick that obviously they have wasted. Highest passer ratings in 2015. This list, I don't know, somewhat predictable. I think where the quarterback on number 2 is kind of surprising. And I think the 5th highest quarterback in the NFL will probably surprise quite a few people. Highest passer rating in 2015, and for all you Carolina fans out there, this is kind of why I don't put Cam Newton, other than the fact that I don't think you could have had an easier schedule possible. I mean, you played only one team that was 500 or better at the time you played them. But the fact that Cam Newton's passer rating, because he's not that great of a passer, is not even in the top 5. So right there, that helps keep you out of the talks of MVP for me, period. I'm sorry, it just does. And I'm trying to pull this up at the same time. But these. That's not what. When I saw this today, and I swore I saved this to my daggone page, and obviously I did, and it really irks me off that I did, because I had the opportunity to see these schedules, and I just want to point out some of these games that we're going to see in 2016. Maybe they got it on theirs. I and nothing against board, but I hate trying to pull up anything on their site because they always do it by pictures, and see, they only got 10, and I guess we can talk about notable. They got the 10 notable non-division games. Not necessarily what I was looking for as the site that I folded up the first time. It had everybody's schedule, and it was games that I wanted to talk about. Well, we'll talk a little bit about this. Maybe I can find a little bit more in this, but but that's the one of the reasons why I never throw Cam Newton in the discussion for MVP, and other than the fact that to be an MVP means if you're not playing, your team does not perform well. Well, I'm sorry, but that kind of ruined it last year because you were on the field last year and you were only able to go 7-8-1. So I know it don't matter if you're on the field or off the field, if you have a legitimate opponent, you're not doing good. I mean, it's just been fortunate. It's unfortunate for Cam Newton because it's not really his fault that their schedule was about as panty-fied as you could possibly get. I don't know if I've seen an easier schedule, but it is what it is, and therefore it hurts you at the same time because I can't throw you in the conversation of MVP, one, if I know that you can win the games because how easy your schedule is, but, so if you're not there, I know that you still can win games, but two, how can you hold value on their wins in their record when you play nobody? I mean, I'm sorry, but that is what it is. But number 1 on the list, top 5 quarterback ratings for Russell Wilson with a 110.1. Not surprising. Yeah, the season kind of started off a little rough, but got much better as the year went, and got to a point that, a 4 or 5 week stretch, he threw something like, 16, 20 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was playing beyond himself. Number 2 really shocked me. Andy Dalton is number 2 in quarterback rating for 2015. I could see him top 5-ish, maybe more of 6 through 10 quarterback rating. I am surprised that he is number 2. Was number 2 in the NFL this year. Number 3, no big surprise, Carson Palmer, 104.6. Number 4, Tom Brady, 102.2. Not a big surprise. But I think, honestly, the number 5 guy will surprise a lot of people. A lot of people is talking garbage about him. A lot of people don't think that he should be a starting quarterback nor a starting team. A lot of people didn't think that he was going to be in the playoffs. But your number 5 quarterback rating is Kirk Cousins with a above 500 quarterback rating. And I think that, honestly, that probably is going to shock quite a few people to know that, in essence, he was probably the 5th best quarterback. And I hate to use that, but, quarterback rating takes in a lot of things. He's a very accurate quarterback. Plus 70% accurate. Traditionally doesn't turn the ball over a lot. Yes, that there was some games that he had some turnovers, but it's not something that, he's really known for. I know a lot of people were, like I said, there was the whole RG3 conversation. A lot of people were just all sold in RG3 as got to be the starting quarterback. And to watch the Redskins are going to win any kind of games and go to the playoffs or blah, blah, blah. It's RG3. No, it's not RG3. Kirk Cousins, 101.6. I'm not going to lie, not surprised. I think a lot of other people are going to be shocked with that. And I'm kind of surprised he was in the top 5, especially the season they have. It's one of those things I think they kind of flew underneath the radar. And there were those things that put them in a position that they had to do a lot of work to get in the playoffs. There's other teams you could say the same thing about. Look at Seattle at the beginning of the season and how that played out for them. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, you lost Big Ben, and how awful the Steelers looked there for a while. And even with the loss to the Baltimore Ravens, you're like, oh, God, they're not going to make it. 10-6 for crying out loud. And people act like the Steelers have no business being in the playoffs. So, but I thought that was interesting. It was one of those things that, I was like, yeah. I think, honestly, to me, it's more of a surprise that Andy Dalton is number 2 on this list of highest passer rating than Kirk Cousins being in the top 5. Honestly, if Andy Dalton was even in the top 5, I would assume he would have been the 5th guy, not the 2nd guy on the list. Now, granted, I know that he's missed quite a few games, and so obviously that, obviously helped him. We know that Andy Dalton falls apart the last 2, 3, 4 games of the season in playoffs. Don't even bring up the word playoffs. It is, once again, I'm banking on them not winning a playoff game again this year. And so, obviously, his quarterback rating traditionally would be a lot lower at this point, especially the piss-poor performances he puts on the last quarter of the season to include the playoffs. But, I think I'm doing that list than the fact that Kirk Cousins is even in the top 5. So. Lordy. Make sure you guys check us out. It's on Twitter. You can follow me at DJ Sports One. You can follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. God, it's hard to believe we're already at the halfway point for the day. All right, time. Especially when you talk football. Right? It seems that when you talk NFL, you talk stats. You talk numbers. You talk playoffs. It makes it like the time just goes by so quick. Make sure you guys check out my fan page, Mr. CJ Sports. Check out the 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Also, make sure that you guys check out our site, www.the110nation.com. Check out our blog site, www.the110nationsports.com. Don't forget we're on Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes. Click on this one other than the I-95 Sports Network. Make sure we make it available any and every which way we possibly can in Blog Talk Radio. We make it as easy as we can so you guys don't miss an episode. Right now, I tell you what, it's a mad crazy schedule here. You got to understand, I got the morning show at 9 o'clock Monday through Friday, the 110 Nation morning show. I am in the process of moving this week. We got to be out. We can officially move into our new place on Friday. We got to be out of here by the end of the weekend. So we're trying to get everything boxed up. We're trying to make trips back and forth. So even though we're not allowed to move into the new house, we're allowed to put our stuff in there. So we're trying to do that. I'm trying to work. We got the kids, and I got the night show Monday through Friday. And you got the administrative stuff, and I'm working on doing scheduling the shows and talking to, staff and everything else, and helping with the blog, writing articles and keeping on the blog site. I tell you what, it is right now. If I had hair, I'd be pulling it out. It's not that I'm bald, but I do keep my hair extremely, extremely short. If I do, I would be half bald. I was not blessed with the opportunity to have a full head of hair at my age and my young, bright age that I am. I think, but we all know the truth on that one. So, crazy. I tell you what. I sat there and told Shorty last night, I can't wait until next Thursday, Friday, 14th. Because I know at that point I will have officially been done packing, moving, and unpacking. Everything will be assorted in its place. I more than likely will have a Thursday or Friday off at that point. It's one of my days off. And I'll finally be able to just take a moment and kind of kick my feet up and relax. And so I can't wait. And plus Shorty cards. If anybody has never met Shorty, the reason why I call her Shorty is she's like 4'11". Now, we moved into this place almost a year ago. It was March 11th we moved in. So 10 months, coming up on 10 months. And, we got together. I had I'm not going to say a fully furnished house, because the house I stayed at before was a 4-bedroom, well, technically it was a 5-bedroom. One of them was an office, but it was big enough to be a bedroom. 2 living rooms, 2 bathrooms. It was a 2,200 square foot place. And so for her, she's got, the only person that helps me is her. And so here she is, all 4'11" of her, trying to help me move a full-size refrigerator, full-size living room set, full-size queen-size bed, entertainment stand, a booking shelf that we used. That was a backdrop when we was on Spreecast. It's a full-size, and when I say full-size refrigerator, I had one of those like $1,200 refrigerators. I still have it in storage, but like it's beyond a full-size refrigerator. It's bigger than a normal refrigerator. A deep freezer, I have those front-loading washer and dryers, not to mention all her kid stuff and everything else, and you know, the computer desk and everything else. All 4'11" of her, and if anybody knows Shorty is not a morning person. And so to get her up at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning so we can pack everything and unpack everything, that's, you know, it was an insane week. And here we are about to do the same thing. The only difference between now and then is we actually have somebody or something already set up. Last time we waited to the last minute and, you know, and then moved everything in basically 2 days or 3 days. To the point we actually got the U-Haul stuck in the backyard. And I had so many people scratching their head. I got it stuck in the backyard, back tires, and the weight of the truck ended up sinking into the ground. And didn't realize, you know, I had been there for 7 years, never, you know, put anything to that weight. I've had vehicles back there, my truck sat back there. Never anything had ever sunk into the ground, but the U-Haul ended up sinking into the ground. And the way I had maneuvered it, not thinking nothing of it, I had maybe 3 feet in front of the vehicle, maybe not even that far, maybe about 2 feet in front of the U-Haul. And the back of the U-Haul was up against the fence. Like, even when the tow company came out and was coming out to drag me out of there, they just shook their head like, how in the hell is it? Literally looked like God had from above took the U-Haul, like it was a Matchbox car, and placed it in between the tree in front of it that literally had maybe 2 feet, 24 inches, and the back porch. I mean, honestly, that's what it looked like. And eventually what they had to do was hook up a semi-sized tow truck to the front of the U-Haul and drag it. I mean, it was craters in the backyard. It was horrible. But they had to literally drag it to get this U-Haul into position that they actually could tow it. And that was the craziness we had. And then you figure she had to help me unload at the storage unit because we moved into a place from 2,200 square feet. So I bet you this place ain't no more than about 700 square feet. So like half of my stuff is in the storage unit. And so here we are once again, where she's going to have to help me pack everything back up. And luckily, half my stuff is in the storage unit, so we got to worry about that. But we got to pack everything. We still have the furniture set and the entertainment stands. I think the only thing that we're lucking out on is the big bookshelf, which was weighed a ton. Weight set. There's the big refrigerator. We still have the small refrigerator to move, or the normal size one anyway. I mean, we still got a crap ton of stuff too. That's going to have to be moved. But it's not as bad. But can you imagine me and a 4'11" female? Not that I'm trying to not say the female can't do it, but we've had this discussion. Guys and females when it comes to muscle and bone structure are obviously different. So that's just the kind of week I'm looking at, and I appreciate everything Shorty does, and she's going to give her full effort, but I can only expect so much. But it's kind of week that is going on here at the One Ten Nation. So definitely got my hands full. I tell you what, ever since the day on weather there, I don't know what it's got to do with cable and internet and cold weather, but it is not wanting to pull anything up, and it is very touch and go right now. I'm trying to pull something up, but and it's not letting me do jack right now. So hopefully everything decent out. I got the 2016 season actually pulled up. I got the actual articles that I have seen, and I'm going to talk about some of the things. But also, it pulls up, I want to talk about some of the, I got everything on shut down too. I want to talk about some of the 10, as the Bleacher Report put, the 10 non-conference games that they highlighted, and looking forward to talking about that as well. It's going to be great because as the way to pull up. And at least what we're moving into is probably, I don't know, it's 700 square feet here. I don't know how small this is, but it is extremely small compared to what I'd be willing to bet it's a third of the size. And at least we're moving into, we're getting back up into probably about the 1,200, 1,500 range. So I don't know if it's quite twice as big, but at least 1.5 the size. Now it's got 3 bedrooms instead of 2 bedrooms. It's got 2 full baths instead of a bath and a toilet. It's actually got a walk-in closet versus the 10 things I can take up in this closet. It's actually got a place for a kitchen table. There's no room for a kitchen table here. I mean, it's now extremely small. It was one of those things. It was a temporary thing, we were just in a financial position at that point in time. But you have no idea how good it's going to be to be able to kind of, I went from the 110 studio being a whole full-size room. Like I said, where I stayed, it was a four-bedroom house, but it was an add-on to the master bedroom. That was kind of one of those things that basically, if you had a kid, you could have the nursery right there. We didn't have child small enough at that point. Our son was already getting to be a year old at that point. And so I forget what we put in the first. We didn't have the 110 Nation back then when we first moved into it. It was a couple of years before that. I think we just put stuff in there, and I think we had exercise stuff in there. I think we used it as an exercise room. We had a treadmill, a gazelle, a weight bench, and a couple other things before it turned into the 110 Nation studio. And then, I had a full-size room for a studio. I went from that to right now, I literally have a desk that is big enough for a 20, maybe not even a 20-inch screen, a mouse pad, a keyboard, and that's really it. Like, I have the coffee machine on the stool next to me with stuff stacked up on it. I have the switchboard or the whatever this, I don't even know what the dang thing is called anymore. And it's sad, but that's what I use to hook the shows up. It's actually on an entertainment stand next to me, and I can't even sit fully underneath. The chair won't fully go underneath the computer desk. That's how small the computer desk is. So I went from having a whole room to having maybe a little cubby corner to the new location. I'm going to have a nice little stretch. It's going to be in the living room. I ain't got a whole room, but I do get in it, and I get to stretch finally. So definitely looking forward to that. 2016 NFL schedule, 10 notable non-division games. You're going to have Seattle traveling to Green Bay. Should make for a good game. Carolina going to Seattle once again. That should be a good one. Green Bay traveling to Washington. As long as this Washington team is the same Washington team as we've seen finish out this season, and which makes it interesting is the fact that round one you got Green Bay and Washington playing each other. So depending on how round one, the wild card round, plays out, that should make things interesting for that matchup. Dallas traveling to the Steelers. Yes, that is always a fun matchup to watch. Seattle at New England after last year's Super Bowl. This ought to be a fun game. You mad, bro? Yeah, that'd be a fun game to watch. New England and Arizona, the two teams that I think is going to be, who I predicted at the beginning of the season, who I still predict right now, going to the Super Bowl, that ought to be a fun matchup, especially if my prediction comes out true. Kansas City and Carolina, as long as this is the same Kansas City Chiefs that has played the last 7 games, I would like to say it's an interesting game, but knowing that Carolina is highly overrated, it could be a lopsided game. Arizona and Cardinals. There you go. Arizona and Carolina. I don't think Arizona is going to even have the opportunity to play Carolina this year. I think Seattle will take out the Panthers in round 2 of the playoffs. But if not, this could be a rematch of the NFC Conference, possibly. Ought to make for a good game. Washington at Cincinnati. That game was played in London. As long as this is the same Washington team once again as we're seeing over the last 3 or 4 weeks, that could be a fun game to watch. And then Indianapolis and Denver, as long as Andrew Luck is back. Well, I don't even say that because at that point, Brock Osweiler should be your quarterback. I just can't see Peyton Manning being the starting quarterback next year. I just don't see it in him. I did see it in him this year. I would be shocked if we see it in him next year as the starting quarterback. Some interesting matchups that I've noted out of each of these teams. New England, of course, with the Ravens having their feelings hurt, in other words, being butt hurt and want to point fingers at New England for the supposed deflategate. That matchup ought to be fun next year in 2016. Also, the Steelers and the Patriots, who I think would be your AFC Championship game. That ought to be a good game. And let's see, we have the Patriots and Cardinals ought to be fun as well. I don't think there's going to be any Miami games that I'm really going to point out. Jets, nothing really worth. I mean, just the usual matchups that you want to talk about on them. Talk about the Patriots and the Bills at this point with Rex Ryan. Buffalo, I mean, they all got to play the Seahawks, and they all got to play the Cardinals, but I just don't see Miami, the Jets, or Buffalo really being that serious of a threat. They got to play the AFC North, and they got to play the NFC West. And so I think that Miami, the Jets, and Buffalo are going to be hurt next year. But when you got to play the Cardinals, you got to play the Rams, you got to play the Seahawks, you got to play the Ravens, you got to play the Bengals, and you got to play the Steelers. That's a lot of losses. And then you got to play the Patriots twice. That's a lot of losses for those teams. I don't think the AFC East is really going to be a team that's outside the Patriots. I think we're going to see the same thing next year. The AFC North has the AFC East, and they have the NFC East. Ought to be some interesting matchups, depending on what Dallas team shows up. But them having to play the Redskins, the Eagles, the Giants, and the Cowboys, all those teams, those ought to be fun games to at least watch. Maybe not so much for the Browns, but the other two teams, you'll have Flacco back. The other three teams are all playing, with Flacco being back and Steven Smith being back, you got three playoff potential teams. Those should be fun to at least watch. The AFC South, they're going to be playing the AFC, what we got? The AFC West and the NFC North. So much fun. AFC West, Broncos, Raiders, Chiefs, all better than them. The NFC North, maybe outside of the Bears, everybody, not so much interesting games in that one. AFC West, you got the NFC South. Interesting. That's very comparable. And you got the NFC or the AFC South. So you got a very easy schedule and an interesting schedule. I like that. NFC East, you got the it looks like you got the AFC North. No, you just had the Browns. You got the NFC North, and yeah, you got the AFC North. Could be interesting. Both Norths, yeah, very interesting. Could be a long year for the AFC or the NFC East once again. The NFC North has the NFC East and the AFC South. That's what it looks like. Should be pretty easy for them. NFC South, you got the East of the NFC and the AFC. You got the AFC West. AFC West and the NFC West. Could be interesting there. Okay, and then the NFC West, you got the South. Got the South. Huh. You got the NFC South and you got the AFC West. That'll be fun. Watching those four teams against the four teams of the East and then also the NFC South. That'll be fun. Let's do the Carolina. Going from the easiest schedule possible to you have the Rams, Seahawks, Lions, Broncos, Reno. You got the Falcons at home. You got the Falcons, Saints, Buccaneers, which you have those same three teams away. But at home, you're going to have the Cardinals, the 49ers, the Vikings, Chiefs, and Chargers. And on the road, you got to play the Rams, the Seahawks, the Redskins, the Broncos, and the Raiders. Much more interesting than their schedule this year. I got to admit, much more interesting. That's what you're looking at here in the 2016 schedule. What I don't get about it is you got three teams bidding for the LA move, and possibility of there being two teams going to LA. How do you have the schedule made out and you don't know if there's one team, two teams, and how that's going to coincide? Like how do you do that? Like I would have thought that the schedules would have been made after the move, or who was moving, or when everything is going to be done, and versus schedule being already made, or at least these decisions would have already been made earlier in the year. So I thought that was rather interesting, that the schedule is already up and we don't know who is going to be in LA and how many teams are going to be in LA. I know last night we was on the air. I had the opportunity, and I kept giving you guys updates of the game last night. We had top-ranked Kansas versus second-ranked Oklahoma, depending on what poll, because Coach's poll had one thing, and then the AP poll had the exact opposite, with Oklahoma being one and Kansas being number two. But the two teams that you had, 1 and 2, in both polls, so you can just say your top two teams in college basketball were playing each other last night. And I watched Kansas go up by 10, 15 points, and you know, I watched the momentum swing and things swing to the other direction. And it got to be a very interesting game. To the point that it went into triple overtime. That's how, and I told you guys when I was when I was sitting there and giving you guys highlights and giving you guys updates in the game, I specifically told everybody, if you get an opportunity once the show's over with, you might want to turn it on. And sure enough, I got the opportunity to sit there, and I found myself wanting to watch game, or I kept wanting to go into overtime after overtime after overtime, because it got to be so interesting. You know, Oklahoma had the opportunity, and Kansas ended up winning by like 3 points. But it got to be so interesting because, I mean, Oklahoma had a chance to win it with 2.7 seconds left in the game. All they had to do was get a free throw. They couldn't manage to hit it. But I tell you, it was a fun game to watch, and to sit there and watch triple overtime. And I mean, it was real close to going into quadruple time. I mean, it got to the point that Shorty got home from work and she was ready to go take a shower. And she got caught up in watching the game, and she's like, I really want to go take this shower, but I don't want to I don't want to miss how the rest of this game is going to play out. But yeah, and it was a great game. I mean, it was back and forth. You got to see a lot of heart and a lot of talented players. It's a really hard-fought game on both sides, and a lot of respect paid. Players on both sides of the court there, even in the losing effort, even on the court. You got to see some of the even on the court, you guys see some of the Oklahoma players showed a lot of respect by the fans, by the Kansas coaches, by the Kansas players. And it was just great to see pure sportsmanship. And, it really made it where you got an opportunity to have people fighting over so bad. Trying to find something, and these people fighting over the new Madden game. I obviously, I won't listen to this after the show, but obviously, someone either didn't like how somebody played the game or didn't like the fact that they lost. And, people punching, they're slapping. And they both slapped each other and knocked each other out. Like, they didn't even punch. They slapped each other. What is up with that? And I understand getting heated in the game. I remember sitting and watching I was playing the Tecmo football. And I was playing some Tecmo football. I remember playing with my brother. And I remember my brother beat me on the last play of the game. It was like less than 30 seconds. Last play of the game. And I was beyond irate. I sat there and put my foot right through the bedroom wall. I was not happy. I am one of the worst sore losers who will ever meet. I don't care what it is. I do not like to lose. And yes, I last play of the game, I get beat. Ended up putting my foot right through the ball. I was probably elementary school, maybe middle school. Needless to say, I was not able to sit down for quite a few days. That was back in the day when he was actually allowed. Now you see why. Now you see why the world is what it is. People are afraid to even touch their kids or discipline. And there's a big difference between beating your kids and punishing. I am all about making sure that my kids are well behaved. Even to this day. I was a well-behaved kid. My daughter probably is the most perfect child I could have ever imagined. My son, not quite as good, but okay. We got Izzo joining us here probably in about the next 5 minutes. Something to talk to the NHL. He got some things he wants to lay on us, and I'm ready for him to talk what he's got the LIHF Junior Tournament. I want to talk about the Winter Classic and All-Star Game. So definitely excited about having him come on the show tonight. It's always fun having him on the house or coming to the house. I had the opportunity to see him as always. But love having them on the show. Love having them have an opportunity to sit there and get the opportunity to listen to him speak the passion he has. The same passion I have for NASCAR, the same passion I have for the NFL. Listen to him have the same passion for the NHL. It was really helped push me into the direction of listening and watching NHL as much as I have. You know, before this season, I don't even think I've ever watched a single game. To go from that to now be able to watch on a regular basis, it is primarily based around the fact that I feel the passion and the excitement coming from him, and it makes me have to turn it on. So always enjoy having him come on the show. But before we get him on here, make sure that you guys check us out on Twitter. You can check me out at DJ Sports 1. You can check out the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Check me out on Facebook, my fan page, Mr. CJ Sports, the 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Also check out our website, www.the110nation.com. Check out our blog site, www.the110nationsports.com, for all the latest going on. Don't forget, we got the 110 Nation morning show, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. We got the 110 Nation Sports Show, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. We got Racing with Big Sweat, make his return back to the network January 14th, Thursday nights, 9 p.m. And then we got the hottest show on the 110 Nation Radio, the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network, Midwest Horsepower Hour, Sunday night, 9 p.m. Don't forget, if you're interested in hosting the show, all you got to do is hit me up, MrCJSports@gmail.com. We got 17 hours we're using. We would love to fill up all 35 hours. That is our goal by July 1st. Either have live shows, or if you got a show that you're already doing on a network but would like to have the opportunity to have it syndicated or rebroadcast on our network, hit me up, MrCJSports@gmail.com. Or if you'd like to come on and help co-host a segment of the show, or you're an expert in a certain field like we have Izzo coming on, also hit me up. Or if you are a journalist, you want to write, and you want to help make our blog site even better, all you got to do is hit me up, like I said, MrCJSports@gmail.com. Interested to come on the show, all you got to do is hit up Miss Lee, that is LEE_110nation@yahoo.com. Don't forget, we got Rashad Mitchell joining us about 9:30 tomorrow. He is a self-published author that has wrote 28 books. His latest one is on the top 50 underrated running backs in the NFL, in NFL history. Looking forward to getting a little bit into his list and getting to know a little bit about his book, or books, and more about him. I know that he's mentioned about coming on the show and possibly making a repeat habit of coming on the show. So looking forward to meeting him tomorrow night, and looking forward to having the 110 Nation be able to know a little bit more about Rashad. But without any further delay, we've got Izzo in the house. I'm looking forward to talking NHL for the next 30 minutes. How are you doing tonight, Izzo?
I'm pretty good. I made an early exit from the pool tournament tonight up at yesterday's, so decided to come back home where it's a little bit warmer and talk some hockey with you tonight.
There you go. Sorry to hear that you didn't make it as long as you did last week, even though you got beat by a girl last week. But anyway, we're not going to go there.
Yes. But the weekend wasn't a total loss. So that wasn't bad at all.
And I joke about it, but the person Izzo lost last week to a good friend of ours and a good pool player, so I had to throw that one in there. Before we jump into this, as always, let the Puckheads know how they can get up with you.
You can follow me on Twitter at 110 Puckhead. Always trying to get on there. I haven't been on there recently. My other job has been kind of hectic, plus the hockey tournament I had this past New Year's Day. So hit me up at 110 Puckhead. I know there were some good games on tonight. I know me and Toby were kind of giving each other dirty looks with the Pens in Chicago skating tonight, with Chicago taking that in overtime. So me and Toby probably won't talk until the morning, and then it'll just be an all-out war by then. But follow me at 110 Puckhead. Shoot me a tweet. Let's talk. Let's debate. Let's argue. We'll go from there.
Let's let us know a little bit about the tournament that you was in, a little bit about it, and how you guys did. I mean, I saw the results, so I know. But let the listeners know out there a little bit about the tournament, where you guys were at, and how your team did.
Well, we were in the bronze division. There were 3 divisions, and we ended up taking the bronze division. It didn't start off so hot. I think we were a little bit tired. We lost the first 2, tied the next one, and then won the next 3 to win the bronze championship. So congratulations to Doyle, Kyle, Brad, Joe, and me. We played pretty hard. I know we were pretty gassed at the end of the night. It was pretty hard just to have a beer at the end of the night after we took off all of our gear and everything. But it was a fun, productive day. Next tournament is Battle for Heroes. That'll be coming up in a couple months, so be paying attention to that. We'll be talking about the team that we're going to assemble to take to that. And it was a fairly good weekend, a lot of good teams, a lot of Fort Bragg teams out there. They did fairly well. So we're all proud of them guys, and those guys are pretty happy with the way they played this past weekend too, Jay.
Glad to hear it. I seen the picture and the update you guys had on there, so I just wanted the listeners to know a little bit about it's one thing to talk it, but to actually walk it as well is really cool, and it helps you be able to, bring a different aspect other than just talking about the sport, but really knowing the sport that you're out there playing it, and, it makes you even more knowledgeable of what you're talking about, so it's really cool to me. We got the LIHF Junior Tournament. We talked a little bit about last week. How did all that play out?
Well, it all finished up today. Finland took the gold with a 4-3 win over today. Russia ended up being best to get into that gold medal game 2-1. Congratulations to Finland. The U.S. took bronze. They beat Sweden 8-3 for the bronze. So that was a pretty good game for the U.S. to have to finish up strong in a good tournament like this. Finland had had 3 of the top 10 scores in order, 1, 2, and 3, with Paul Uvarvi, Ao, and Lane. Paul Uvarvi was the MVP of the tournament with 17 points altogether. The U.S. also had 3 top 10 scores. Austin Matthews, who is the top NHL prospect with 7 goals, 4 assists with 11 points. Matthew Tkachuk, who is, we all know Keith Tkachuk's offspring. We all know Keith Tkachuk had a pretty good career. His son Matthew's doing excellently well. He did well in this tournament with 7 goals and 4 assists with 11 points too. And Zach Werenski with 2 goals and 7 assists. So those 3 guys they're at the top of the draft coming up this year. So these guys are going to be pretty well looked at over the next couple months. And so congratulations for the U.S. getting into the medal round and winning a bronze, and really having a good overall tournament. So congratulations to Finland, like I said, who took the gold over Russia. Russia with the silver this year. So congratulations to those 3 countries and those group of young kids who represented pretty damn well in my eyes with the way they played over the last couple of weeks and everything like that. So it's all said and done. It wrapped up today. So it was a very good game against Finland and Russia, So congratulations to the nation of Finland. Finland is also really, really tough, even in the international Olympic competition too. So Finland held up its name today in the World Junior Tournament. So congratulations to them, and congratulations to all the teams that participated. Most of these kids are just trying to make a name for themselves to make a professional team somewhere. And I think overall it was a very good tournament. A lot of excitement, a lot of tight games. A lot of heated rivalries, so I think it was an overall success for those kids, Jay.
Speaking of American, your Team USA, and you got 3rd place, what was expected of Team USA? Going into this tournament with all these great countries out there, what was 3rd kind of what we was expecting? Was we expecting a better finish? Was we surprised they made it into the medals? What was really the expectation for Team USA?
Well, for Team USA this year, a lot of kids are still in school. A lot of kids are playing in different countries in elite leagues right now. Most of Team USA hasn't really been drafted by anybody. Most of them are all in, maybe the AHL or the QMJHL and the Finnish elite leagues. I know Austin Matthews skates for the ZCS Lions over there in Europe, so he's having a pretty good productive season so far. I think I think this is right where they wanted to be. They didn't really have, a very, very big superstar along with Austin Matthews to really play along. But a lot of these kids really showed up, and I think they played a lot of good hockey, made a pretty good name for themselves. Usually the U.S. ends up in the medal rounds and everything like that. They usually end up in a position to win a medal. So I think all in all, I think it was a good year for them, or a good tournament for them. I think the coaching staff was really pleased, and I think a lot of the guys in the other leagues that are developmental scouts, I think they really like what they saw out of some of the kids in Team USA. A good portion of those kids could be playing professional hockey in the next year or two. So Austin Matthews is the overall number one rated prospect for this year's draft. So it's going to be interesting to see where he may end up at too. So Matthew Tkachuk is he had a pretty good tournament. I think he's going to be another guy that is going to make a pretty big impact here in the next year or two, wherever he goes, whether it's the CHL or the AHL or over in the Russian or Swedish elite leagues, or even in the Finnish elite leagues or the Czech elite leagues. I think he's going to leave a pretty I think he's going to carry the Tkachuk name on pretty well, just like his father did. So I think USA was very happy. Did they want to do yet better? Yes, more than likely they wanted to take that gold, away and everything like that. So I think they're happy with taking the bronze. They don't really have anything to look down upon themselves. They play great hockey. A few moments here and there, especially in that Canada game where it got a little dicey and edgy and a little rough and physical. So I think overall USA is pretty proud of what they've done. I think they wish they could have done better, but hey, that's why they play the games, Jay.
Now, I know we got a couple of topics where we got scheduled to talk about, and I'm eager to jump into, but I have that I got to know. Where did Florida come from all of a sudden, and what has changed that's got this Florida Panther team on a 10-game win streak sitting on top of the Atlantic Division all of a sudden?
Well, Jay, that's a damn good question, and I hope my buddy Brad is tuning in because he is a damn proud Panthers fan, and I always got to hear from him, especially when they win. Man, I don't know. Everything is just clicking on all cylinders. Yager, who's going to be 44, is playing like he's 24. He's pretty much showing all the young guys how to play hockey. Roberto Luongo's playing amazing goaltending right now, and they're skating against teams that should beat them, and they're just turning around and beating them. They're on quite of a streak right now. 10 games is a lot. It's very hard to win, get a 10-game streak going and everything like that. So, they got a couple. I think they have the right pattern for a good playoff run. But like you said, Jay, they've been firing up the standings here in the last week or so. So Florida's become an excellent team in the East division, in the Eastern Conference right now, and they're making some very big headway. Kind of like what Montreal was doing at the beginning of the season. So they're getting hot right now. And, you get hot right now and set yourself up for later on in the season. So, and as of right now, Yager and Roberto Luongo are the top two players for the Panthers for the All-Star game, just the way they've been playing. Yager leading the team in points right now, especially at his age. At the age of 44, it's like he's, the age factor hasn't even, kicked in on Yager yet. So it's still really cool to see one of the great players of the game, even from the early 90s, still perform, almost 20 some odd years later. So, Yager's just feeling it right now. Roberto is seeing the puck pretty well. He's playing to old form and everything. And, with the guys like Brian Campbell and all those other guys down there are just, really soaking it up and playing really good team hockey. Their 5-on-5 has been excellent. Their power play has been pretty solid. Their penalty kill has been amazingly solid, giving up very few goals on the power play in these last couple of weeks and everything. So all cylinders seem to be clicking in Florida right now, and I know that the Panther faithful are loving each and every single game right now. So they're just playing some excellent hockey, and they're outplaying everybody that that they're playing right now, and it's kind of a cool thing to see, Jay.
It is. I don't know what impresses me more, what the Panthers are doing right now with this 10-game win streak, or the Washington Capitals, and the run that they are having, and seeing that they don't even have double-digit losses yet. It's not like I'm saying, okay, I'm saying it because they got 9 losses. They got 7. They got 3 more losses before they even hit double digits. I don't know at this point which team is impressing me more, Washington or Florida.
Well, I'd have to say Florida, because no one really expected Florida to make a lot of noise. They don't really have a lot of star-studded power down there, especially like the Capitals do with T.J. Oshie, Backstrom, and Ovechkin, and with Brayton Holtby playing the way he's been playing, leading the league with 24 wins. So Washington, this has been expected of Washington, for the last couple of years, to win big, have put some good win streaks together here and there, play solid hockey night in and night out. So I think the Florida is probably the more surprising of the two right now. But I mean, let's face it, Washington, Brayton Holtby with that new contract he got in the off season has just been playing lights out. I think he's above a 92% save percentage right now. He's the best goalie in the division right now. He has the best save percentage in that division right now, in the Metro division, with 93.2 save percentage, and leading the league in wins right now with 24. And you're already just halfway through the season. You already have 24 wins. So he's on pace to, maybe possibly win 40, 45 games for the Capitals, which is something they desperately need. Goaltending has been an issue, ever since Olaf Kolzig retired. They haven't really found that franchise goaltender, and I think Brayton Holtby is really paving the way for him right now for the Capitals.
Now, since the last show, we had probably one of the best. I'm not going to say the game was great. It was like a 5-1 win, and Montreal ended up winning. But one of those games that are must-watch game, I guess is better to label, and that's the Winter Classic. I would ask that you have the opportunity to watch it, but I know that you cleared your schedule to watch it. What were some of the brighter points of this game, and was it as enjoyable as prior Winter Classic for you?
Well, I don't think it was really enjoyable altogether. Right before the Winter Classic, Patrice Bergeron received a 3-game suspension, so that really hurt Boston there, especially in the face-off department, because Patrice Bergeron is like one of the league leaders in face-off draws in the league right now. So not having Patrice Bergeron really did not help them at all. I think Boston played a very, very sloppy game. I think Montreal just had it for that day. That day they put up 5 goals, which is something that has been very difficult for them. I was a little disappointed in the ratings, in the TV ratings for the game this past year, because it's been the lowest that it's been since its inception into the league, the Winter Classic being brought into the league. So I think it could have been a lot better. I mean, it's still pretty cool regardless, whether you're a hockey fan or you play hockey. I think watching any kind of game outdoors was is a privilege in anything. But in my honest opinion, I believe that the Women's Outdoor Classic was a lot better and a lot, better hockey to watch than the actual Winter Classic, which is something to say. That was kind of bad on the league's part right there, Jay.
Mm-hmm. And do you have an opportunity to watch the whole women's game?
I did get a chance to watch some of the women's game. I didn't get a chance to watch all of it. They skated to a 1-1 tie. But watching the game itself, hopefully the Boston Pride, who lost Dina Lang, who kind of went awkwardly into the boards, was taken out on a stretcher. I haven't had any updates about that, but hopefully she's doing well. But the Boston Pride, Blake Bolden had the goal for the Pride, and Kim Duchesne had the goal for the Lady Canadians. So I really enjoyed this game. There was a lot of hard-fought skating and everything like that. There really wasn't, a lot of good opportunities for teams to capitalize on in the scoring department. But overall, it was an amazing game, and I think it really showed the way that women's professional hockey could be, one of the new things to really watch in the coming years. So, like I said, I was fairly impressed with the ladies' game. I was really excited that I got to watch most of it. I didn't get the chance to finish the game, but I already know how that finished out and everything like that. But it was still really cool to see, the women getting their shot at skating in an outdoor game, and hopefully this will be, lead to something bigger and better. Maybe they'll get their own Stadium Series outdoor games, just like the NHL is going to have coming up here soon. So I was really thoroughly impressed with the way the ladies played in that game. Like I said, I thought it was better than the Montreal-Boston game. So congratulations to.
Do you think that the ladies' game? Do you think it helped them? In the sport is obviously the women's hockey is looking for an opportunity to get more TV time and help this sport to grow and get more national attention. Do you think that this Winter Classic game with the ladies, do you think that really helped their cause in that?
I really do. I mean, most of the people that watch Team USA probably will watch the Women's World Cup or watch the Olympics. When they watch the Olympics, here they love. I know the country loves their women's hockey. Since they broke into the mid to late '90s and everything, and them winning right off the bat, especially in '98 in Nagano, Japan, them winning the gold really started paved a pretty good chunk of the way for the women's hockey. And I think now they're just dragging it inch by inch. And I think this Winter Classic really had a chance to show on a national spectrum that, women can play hockey, and yes, they are very good at it. Some of them, I think, could hang in the league in the NHL. So Phil Kessel's younger sister, I know she's a heck of a hockey player. I think she's better than Phil himself. So I do believe it really helped out in a long way, and I enjoyed watching it very much so. I was actually quite into it more than I thought it would be. So I think this really did a long I really think this is going to help out in the long term to get women's hockey on the front. I think it could probably do better than women's basketball or anything like that. So if it's, taken care of, and if they can get some more outdoor games, especially against the Canadian Professional League, where the NWHL and the CWHL are going to be rivals, I think they'll have a win-win situation. So you're going to get an excellent game with two rival leagues, one who gets paid, one who doesn't get paid, and teams that, players that wanted to play up in the CWHL since it's been around for so long, against players in the NWHL now that have their own league and that they can play professionally and everything like that, instead of, the World Cup tournaments and the Olympics and everything like that, and even in college. So it's giving them, a chance to be a professional athlete. And I think it's come a long way in its, short existence so far, and I think it can only get better, Jay.
Now, finally, I see that there's some All-Star news. What's the latest on the All-Star coming up?
Well, All-Star game, we all know, is going to be January 31st on a Sunday. They are going to release the official rosters tomorrow, so I'll be tweeting about that and Facebooking about that one. But we had some I was kind of going through and reading some of the top analysts' projections for their All-Star roster and everything. And I typically like what I'm going to see. What we do know that is set in stone right now, that Jaromir Jagr is going to be the captain for the Atlantic Division. In the Metro Division, Alexander Ovechkin is going to be captain. In the Central Division, Patrick Kane is going to be a captain. And in the Pacific, John Scott is going to be the captain. So their rosters are going to be officially set tomorrow. But I feel that, there's a couple guys that I have listed down that I think are going to make it. Patrice Bergeron, who is a big fan favorite, leads the Boston team in points right now. Dylan Larkin, who's a rookie for Detroit, is outpacing every single rookie in the league right now with his points and goal total. So we got a lot of good guys for the Atlantic Division. Yager, Bergeron, Hoffman, Dylan Larkin, Steven Stamkos, James Van Riemsdyk, Eric Carlson, defenseman from Ottawa, Rasmus World-Tainales from Buffalo, and PK Subban from Montreal. The Metro Division, it's looking like we might have Ovechkin, Crosby, and Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux from Philly's leading the team in points with 12 goals, 29 points. Crosby, as we all know, is going to be an all-star until he gets old and gray and everything like that. Skating along with them are going to be John Tavares from the Islanders, Matt Zuccarello, who is leading the New York Rangers with 16 goals, 31 points. And your own Brandon Saad from the Columbus Blue Jackets is another guy expected to be named to the Metro roster, who is leading the Jackets with 16 goals right now. So John Carlson from Washington, Justin Falk from our Carolina Hurricanes, and Chris Letang are the three defensemen that are probably going to make these Metro teams. Justin Falk is having an amazing year so far with 14 goals, and among the defensive leaders, defenseman leaders in points with 30 right now. So it's going to be looking pretty good for the Metro Division. Central Division with Patrick Kane, who's going to be captain, obviously, because he's the league leader in points right now with 57. Going to probably playing with his line mate John Taves from Chicago. Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn, both from Dallas, are probably going to be named to this all-star team. Seguin with 50 points and 23 goals so far this season. Jamie Benn with 52 points and 24 goals, who's leading the league in goals right now with 24. Tyler Seguin with 14 points on the power play is one of the league leaders right now. Nathan McKinnon from Colorado is probably going to be named to this team, along with Vladimir Tarasenko from the Blues, who has 23 goals, who is up among the league leaders right now. Defensive-wise for the Central, we're looking at Ryan Suter from Minnesota, who averages the most minutes out of anybody in the league right now. Shea Weber from Nashville, who's the captain of the Predators. We all know big Shea Weber. Dustin Byfuglien from Winnipeg, 23 points in 39 games so far this year for the Winnipeg Jets. So he's going to be another guy to watch. Jake Allen and Corey Crawford are probably going to be the two goalies for the Central Division this year, which won't be a bad thing. Jake Allen's carrying a 92.6 save percentage. Corey Crawford's just under him at 92.5. Also leading the league with 4 or 5 shutouts, I do believe, so far this season. Playing some really good hockey right now. Pacific, John Scott from the Arizona Coyotes is going to be the captain. Taylor Hall from Edmonton is going to be skating. Johnny Gaudreau, also known as Johnny Hockey from Calgary, is going to be on this line. Too. Joe Pavelski from the San Jose Sharks, who's having a pretty quiet year with 20 goals and 38 points. Daniel Sedin of the Sedin Twins from Vancouver is going to be skating on this line. Anze Kopitar from LA is going to also be playing, probably going to be playing in this All-Star game. Brent Birds from San Jose, big guy, 16 goals, 34 points in 37 games so far, so he's having an amazing year. Drew Doughty from LA, another great All-Star pick. Very versatile on the defensive and offensive zone, so pretty cool to see Drew Doughty back in the All-Star game. Oliver Ekman-Larsson from Arizona, I think, will be another guy that's going to make the All-Star game. Third in leading scorer on the team right now from the defensive position for the Coyotes. So he's having a pretty solid year so far. So that's what we're looking at so far for the All-Star roster. Like I said earlier, the official rosters will be put out tomorrow. So look on my Twitter. I'll be paying close attention to that all day, waiting for that to be released. And then January 31st will be the game to watch. Like we said, they're going to do a different format, 3-on-3 format. So it's going to be pretty interesting to watch. I think it's going to be a really cool thing to be a part of. And it's going to take place in Nashville. So All-Star game this year will be in Nashville, and I think the players really like playing in Nashville. It's always a good town. I lived there for a little bit, and I loved it and everything like that. The Bridgestone is right there, right off of Broadway, so there's going to be plenty to do during the day and just during All-Star Weekend and everything with the skills competition, players signing autographs, the game itself, and really a lot of good entertainment down there in downtown Nashville. So looking forward to seeing the official rosters tomorrow, and we're going to be updating about that, so pay attention on Twitter tomorrow, Jay.
Most definitely will. Very excited and looking forward to seeing any and all of the Columbus Blue Jackets that are fortunate enough, since we're sitting at the bottom of the barrel still, to make this roster. And definitely excited about seeing this new format that they're doing this year for the All-Star Game and seeing how exciting this is for the NHL fans. This will be my first All-Star that I'll sit down and watch. But to just be able to see how excited everybody else is to watch this new format and how much of a difference it is, I'm definitely excited and looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something different, Jay. I mean, as a kid, for me, watching, you had two full teams playing a whole game, and sometimes you would get scores of 30 to 25. You're 24 to 20. You're going to get a lot of, you're going to get some pretty high goal totals coming out of this. And I think it's going to be even more, especially with this 3-on-3, with teams going to be, getting tired a lot more rapidly than normal than a 5-on-5 game. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think we're going to see a lot of pretty goals. I think we're going to see some jaw-dropping passes and one-timers, and I think the goalies are going to be in for a workout just like they always are in the All-Star break. Let's face it. Not every goaltender likes playing in the All-Star game because, let's face it, that's the cream of the league playing. And when you get all that talent playing on the ice at the same time, man, it can make a goalie's world dizzier than riding a merry-go-round for a half an hour straight. So it's gonna be something to watch, Jay.
I'm sure it is, and of course with less help out there with a 3-on-3, I can only imagine. But definitely be looking out for your tweets tomorrow, and I'll be watching your timeline on Facebook to see all the latest coming out of NHL. Once again, let them know where they can follow you on Twitter.
You can follow me at 110 Puckhead. Like I said, pay attention tomorrow. We're going to be having our all-star rosters finalized and everything, and I'm looking forward to that. So 110 Puckhead on Twitter. When we get these rosters posted up, tell me who you like, who's going to be the favorite division to win the All-Star game. So looking forward to it at 110 Puckhead, man. Follow me.
Thank you very much. As always, love having you on. Looking forward to sitting down here doing it again next Tuesday, talking about these rosters, getting ready for the All-Star game, and, of course, getting caught up in all the action over the last week. Izzo, thank you once again for tuning in or joining us, and I'll be talking to you a little bit later on.
All right, boss. Have a good night.
Yes, sir. That was Izzo, our NHL expert. He joins us every Tuesday night at 10:30. Make sure you guys tune in, check him out. Don't forget, tomorrow we got Rashad Mitchell, the author of the top 50 underrated NFL running back to NFL history, amongst 28 other books that he has out there. I'm looking forward to getting to have an opportunity to sit down and talk to him about his books, his life, and his outlook on the NFL. So, and any other sport that he's wrote about. I don't know what all the books are that he's wrote. I'm going to sit down tomorrow and kind of after tomorrow's morning show and get to know a little bit more about Rashad Mitchell before we get to tomorrow. So looking forward to that. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, 110 Nation Morning Show, 9 a.m. kicks off. Make sure you guys are there tomorrow night, 9 p.m., 110 Nation Sports Show. Make sure you guys tune in. Looking forward to having you guys in and listening in. You guys have a great night.
Thanks for listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show with Mr. CJ Sports. You are a part of the 110 Nation, so be sure to visit the110nation.com for everything related to the show. You can follow CJ on Twitter at 110nation and on Facebook at 110 Nation Sports. Until next time.